up, y'all? It's your boy JTMM, aka Just 10 More Minutes, aka the Freakin' Tim, back again with another video. And this time we're back with Sabaton's Wehrmacht. Now it may be Wehrmacht. Y'all know my pronunciation sucks. But this is one that's been requested heavily, and I finally was able to get to it after covering the past few. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I didn't see any official music video. I saw a lot of fan-made videos. So if there's any of those you want me to check out that you think are really well done, I'll be more than happy to do so. But with that being said, let's switch it up. Let's take a listen. I like that. This hits different.
Men on a leash, or young men who lost their way, and illusions of the Reich, blazing real at times. Panzers on a line, born the Wehrmacht's spine, lethal regicide. What about the men executing orders? Panzers on a line, born the Wehrmacht's spine, lethal regicide. What about the men executing orders?
Wow, that they didn't play around. Now the intro was great. Definitely had a sound that I don't know that we've heard from them before. Now I realize this is older in 2010, but even going through some of the stuff I think I did from 2008, and I know I've done some stuff in around like 12 and 14. I still haven't heard this type of beat and chord progression from them. That the intro where they almost had, it almost sounded like, if you ever watched Knight Rider, American TV show, it almost sounded like the intro. Not an exact copy. I'm not saying they plagiarized or anything. More of just kind of that feeling you got. If you watch Knight Rider, listen to the intro music and then kind of listen to that in between the guitars. It had that type of feel to it. No copying or anything. Pulled into war to serve a vision that's supposed to last 1,000 years. Part of a machine unstoppable, as merciless as tidal waves. Now think about that. Not that, I'm thinking about the wording, right? As merciless as tidal waves. That's really cool. Think about that vision, right? I mean, tidal waves will just crush you. And merciless as tidal waves. Were they the victim of the time, or proud parts of a larger goals? Propaganda of the Reich, masterful machine. Time and again, the battle rages on, beyond the gates of misery. As casualty rise and millions die around them, did they see it all? Crazy madmen on a leash, or young men who lost their way, grand illusions of the Reich, may seem real at times. And then they switched to this I mean, it was just, I loved how they switched to panzers on a line from the Wehrmacht's spine. Lethal grand design. What about the men executing orders? Panzers on the line from the Wehrmacht spine. Lethal grand design. What about the men executing orders? I love how different this is from their other stuff we've heard. I mean, it's the same, it's got the same orchestra type feel to it and stuff like that. But it's the beat progression and the song itself, his delivery. It's all kind of different than at least what I've heard on the ones I've covered. There may be other songs like this, but this is the first time I'm hearing it. I love it. Love that.
Pulled into war to serve a vision that just didn't last 1,000 years.
Oh, nice one.
Part of a machine, those stoppable as merciless as tidal waves. Crazy madman on a leash, or young men who love their ways. Grand illusions of the Reich may seem real at times. Panzers on a line, on the Wehrmacht spine. Lethal grand design. What about the men executing orders? Panzers on a line, on the Wehrmacht spine. Lethal grand design. What about the men?
Wow. That was different than anything that I've heard from him. Different delivery. Just the beat progression. I'm trying to, so the reason I've paused, I'm thinking about the ending, and as he just says, what about the men? And I'm just letting that sink in for a second, because it was no longer about the men executing orders, right? It was about the men. Ad victoriam ex machina, non sibi sed petraea. And then they repeat that. And then they repeat, pulled into a war to serve a vision that didn't last 1,000 years. Part of a machine, though stoppable, as merciless as tidal waves, right? So perfect storytelling there as well, because at the beginning, we had that, right? It was the pulled into a war to serve a vision that's supposed to last 1,000 years. Part of a machine unstoppable, as merciless as tidal waves, right? And at the very end, pulled into a war to serve a vision that just didn't last 1,000 years. Part of a machine, though stoppable, as merciless as tidal waves. Crazy madmen on a leash, or young men who just lost their way. Grand illusions of the Reich may seem real at times. Panzers, I love the Panzers on the line. That switch to the Panzers on the line. Love that. From the Wehrmacht spine, lethal grand design. What about the men executing orders? And then again, it switches on this last line. Panzer's on a line from the Wehrmacht spine. Lethal grand design. What about the men? Right? And it was no longer about the men executing orders, but what about the men? This is a brilliant song. I really enjoyed this. And now I see why y'all wanted me to cover this. This is just, it's so different. And I love that little in between with that. I don't know what they were trying to simulate, if it was more like simulating a machine of such. What I said was kind of that Knight Rider sound, what their goal was with it, if it was kind of that machine. So if y'all know, let me know. This was really cool. Let me switch it up, give you my final thoughts. You know, when I cover these Sabaton songs, I'm really never knowing what to expect, right? And I'm kind of jumping around in years as I've seen the songs that y'all have requested. And that's worked perfectly. So, you know, tomorrow I'll do the history on this, so I'll understand it more. But I'm enjoying it's not even a maturity of their sound. It's more of just the evolution of their sound. Because as I listen to this older stuff, and then I've heard some of their newer stuff, you know, while it has the same feeling, there's little things that they've done to change it up. And I think that's just how groups mature. And I talk about that with young groups like The Warning, right? And what they're going to sound like in, you know, not just today listening to their older stuff, but even past that, right? How they're going to sound in 5 years, in 10 years, and how are they going to change it up to remain, you know, loyal to themselves, but also just changing up their sound. And that's what I think Sabaton really does a good job of. It's just the evolution, because as they write songs about war, their sounds are just, you cannot help but be hooked in. You just can't. Every song I hear, I'm into. There's not one that I'm just kind of like, it didn't really work for me. I mean, all of them are just masterful. And I think you got to give them credit for that. You know, absolutely wonderful. All right, enough of that. Loved it. I want to watch the history, so look for the history video on this tomorrow on Tuesday. That being said, let's do some shameless plugs. If you like the video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you like the content I'm putting out, hit that subscribe button. We've already surpassed 2,100 subs now. Y'all are killing me with that in a good way. But the support has been amazing. I absolutely love y'all. You know, the conversations we have, I look forward to them each week. It's almost why I want to post on the weekends, just because on the weekends, the channel kind of slows down, and it's like, okay, where are my friends at? What are my friends doing? But no, those are busy days for me. So those are my days. But absolutely loving it. You know, I appreciate y'all. So please have a great week. Even though it's Monday, just have a great week. And remember, if someone asks you to stop what you're doing, don't ask for 1, don't ask for 2, and certainly don't ask for 5. Someone asks you to stop what you're doing, always ask for just 10 more minutes. I'm JTMM. I'm out.